In this video, I'm going to teach you guys how I use the 4-H record book here in New Mexico, along with homeschooling my child for literature, for math, and all of the life skills that can come with it. At the end of the video, I will also show you the app that I use on my phone to help keep track of all of our animals, their expenses, and everything that goes into the book to help my child at the end of the year, as well as the printout that I can get when I export all the records for the year. Hi everyone. So tonight is one of our very first 4-H meetings. It's October, which is the beginning of the new fiscal year. So I thought, because I'm still working on a video for some roles, I would go ahead and make a video about my daughter's books that we use to keep track of her 4-H projects, but it's also a fantastic way to help with her homeschooling math, writing, and all of the things that go with school, because we do homeschool her and because 4-H is a great way to help with all of our homeschooling. So I thought I'd share the book that we use here in New Mexico. Each state is a little different and they all require something a little different. So if you don't know, go online and look for your state's 4-H book, and if you can't find it there, then go to your club's leader and they should be able to put you in the right direction, either to an extension agent who can get it to you, or they might have it themselves. Now, not everyone uses this book, but here in our state, if you turn in the book for your project each year, you do get a pin, and then you can take your book and keep track of your year's projects going forward. And this is kind of how we do it here in our house, here in New Mexico, with our requirements for New Mexico books. There are requirements on each of these books. They have to have a certain number of pictures, so they can't have too many. Ours requires 3 pictures. We do a 4th one on the cover page. And not everyone does them the way we do them, but this is how we do them. So let me show you. So this is my daughter's goat book. We have one for every single species that she shows. So she started off with just the chicken one. She's been doing chickens for 3 years. This is her goat book. She's been doing dairy goats for 2 years and lambs for 2 years. She's actually in the other room working on her lamb one right now. And then the new one this year was pig, and she also has horse, which she did for 1 year, took a year off, and then did another year of. So she has all of these binders. Each one we go and buy a cheap binder, either from the dollar store or Walmart, and it's really easy to get them real cheap when you're searching for your school supplies each year at Walmart or Smith's or wherever you get your school supplies. Just grabbing an extra binder for whatever your kids are doing for their animal project. And it doesn't even have to be an animal project. So it could be the baking project, it could be they all have different paperwork that they require. Again, you can get that through your 4-H office or your club. But what I do each year is I go ahead and print out a new cover page, and each one will have a picture of the animal, our county, and then what it is and her name, so she can take these binders to the meetings, keep track of any notes that she has, and keep track of everything as we go. I also use an app that at some point I am happy to share with you guys if you guys are interested at all. So we open up the binder, and the first thing you'll see is some of her things from over the last couple of years. This is, I believe, the dairy goat packet from last year. And so it has a packet in there with all the pages that we need to fill out for each year. And then she's been given some notes and things at each of the meetings. Her goat parts, a word search here. So anything that she gets at the meetings, we can 3-hole punch and we can put in here, or she can keep here in the flap. And then she was also given a folder for her goat 4-H project from the goat 4-H leader. This, your county may or may not do this anymore. Ours has gone to a digital version, so all of this is digital. You can acquire these, I think, online or potentially in person. It will cost a couple dollars, but this is your goat project manual for the year. And then I usually include I'll get a cheap one from the dollar store, a little pencil case. That way she can keep markers or pencils in here to keep notes. I do make sure she, again, has a dollar store or cheap notebook so that she can write down any notes from her meetings. And so I make sure that that's in there. And then the other thing, like I said, here in New Mexico, they are required to do certain pages. So I print those out every year so that she can have those readily available and we can work on them throughout the year. And like I said, some of it I do put in an app so that we don't miss anything at the end of the year. So anytime we go to a show, pay a fee, paid for feed, anything like that, I put into an app. And it's a fantastic app where I can print it out at the end of the year and it tells us everything for each individual animal, which is fantastic. So this is what we do. So each page has listed kind of what you're going to do under each section, your list of your goals for the year. So this is what she wanted to learn this year. This is for the end of the year, what she wanted to, or what she did learn. So this year I learned, and then she'll fill it in. This year my goals were, and she wrote down her goals. So I kind of have her fill them out at the beginning of the year, and then sometimes I'll print them out at the end of the year and we'll redo it just in case anything changed over the years. This is your different activities. So your talks and your contests, where your project meetings. So anytime you got together with the other goat kids or the other animal or the other baking kids and did a project, that goes here. So you want to keep track of all of your meetings. Up here, it's demonstrations that you gave. So if you went somewhere like school and you did show and tell and you demonstrated as part of your project, that goes here. Exhibits. Like I said, it describes everything in here of what you need, but some of them include your animal, some of them don't include your animal, some of them are just like a poster board that you displayed and you talked to. So if there was a meeting where you were out in the community and you were just talking to people about your different projects, you could put that in here under one of the sections. But it asks where, it asks what, and then it gives you levels. And up here it tells you about the levels. So county, your district, and that's the letter that would go on this side here. So you keep track of all that. And then this one here is for all of your other activities. So anything you didn't list over here in these pages, you would list in these pages. And this is just so you don't miss anything. So your camps, your schools, your field trips, anything like that, workshops get listed on that page. So anything that you didn't list on these pages, you list here. And in New Mexico, it's very important that you don't overlap. So if you listed something here, you wouldn't list it in this section here or this section here. Each section only has its individual activities, and you don't want to put it here, here, and here. Just one place. So you'll select the best place for it. And then this, sorry, I gotta turn the page here. This is one of my favorite parts. So this helps with writing reports, your literature. This is our project story. So you'll pick kind of what your story is. You'll have an introduction, a body, a conclusion, and you can write the story however you want it. What you accomplished, what you learned, things you enjoyed. But this is your story of your project that year. And then they sign it and date it at the end, and then they turn it in. And then, so that's kind of your math, English, homeschool side of it. Sorry, I'm a little sniffly today. And then this is your inventory. So this is a really good place from here forward, or here on, is kind of your math section or homeschool math of the book. So here is your opening inventory. Anything you had last year that you are using this year again. And with that comes depreciation. So if you had it last year and you bought it for $150, you would take 10% off, and that would now be your new value. So next year, if you're continuing to use the same thing, you will then take 10% off of what this year was, which would then be like 20%. but you have to do it each year. So that depreciation goes down 10% each year. And so it'll always have a value, but it just continues to go down because of depreciation and the amount of time you've had it and used it. This is your closing inventory. So anything you bought during the year that you will be using next year that you didn't use up, that all goes down here. So all the stuff you started the year with, all of the stuff you bought during that year, and then the next year, everything that's on this list, and potentially some from that list, will then start on this list. Sometimes it's a little longer than you have lines for. So let's see. And I believe you can do an extra page. Let's see, list all of the items, include animals kept as replacement animals. Remember, once you use something, it no longer has the same value as when it was new. Say, this is our expense and income report. You go through and you'll list the date that you acquired it, what you acquired, the amount or per pound. So if you bought 2 goat brushes, or if you bought 8 pounds of feed, this was a mineral supplement, this is how much it cost. And then if you have something that you had income as, so let's say she sold a goat last year, which she didn't, but she would write the goat here, she would write the number 1, and then she would write a 0 here, and write how much income she got. Like I said, she's not done with this one. This is just kind of my example. And then it adds up all your numbers down here, but this helps teach your children basic business math, which is great, along with the depreciation. All right, so this page here is for all of your animals' activities. If they were sick, when you started or changed how much or what they were being fed, their vaccinations, their birth dates, if they died, their breeding dates, all of that is kept here. So even let's say if you bought an animal and you were showing it and you were planning to show it and it passed away, you'd keep all of your records up until it passed away. And if you couldn't get a new animal in time, you could still turn in this record as a project done because you lost the animal and just couldn't show it. Just because you can't show does not mean you didn't do the project. So that is something there for keeping track of everything that has to do with your animal. And you can go on to another page if need be. But that is her binder. She will then take the front page out of the binder, so the cover page. Then she will take this and put it behind the cover page. And on the last page, we will have a page that has 3 pictures from her project that year. It'll be on a piece of paper. It'll go on the back. And then we'll put a divider between it, or at least that's what we're going to do this year. We're going to put a divider between each one because she did so many. And we will turn in a binder full of her projects. So it will, this year's binder will include the chickens, the goats, the lamb, the horse, and the pigs. I think that's everything. And then we will print out a new front for her next year and prepare this for her projects this year, now that it's October. So that is how we go through and we do this book. And this is how we do homeschooling with this book, is we include her projects as part of her homeschooling. She has to keep track of the feed. She has to keep track of the money. And I help her do that, but we do keep track of all that. The app that I use, I print out the summary of all the animals at the end of the year, which I will show you here in just a minute. And I'm thinking this video, just to make it long enough, I will go ahead and show you that app. But that is the basics of how she does her books each year. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys the app that I use for 4-H. It is the 4-H Livestock Record Book. It looks like this on the inside. If you didn't see what I clicked on before, it just looks like that symbol there in the front. Just tap on it again. It gives you this notification that says that they will be doing away with this. I really hope they don't, because I haven't been able to find the Z Suite or Record Book app online that they've been discussing, and this is the best app I have been able to find. Unfortunately, it is only available on iPhone. So if you don't have an iPhone and there's not a tablet or anything in the house that has that Apple symbol on it. This app is unfortunately not for you, and hopefully they will continue to either make this better or make an app like this in another situation. But here it is. So when you open it up, I've got both of my children in there. So they each have their own animals. We will be using Brinley today as an example. So you just click on her name. It opens up her section, her folder. As you can see here, I've got all of her animals listed underneath here for last year, as well as the ones for this year, because we are starting this year now and I am trying to keep on top of everything. So the first thing I want to show you is the events. You click on it. You've got all the events that she's been to. You'll notice that it has the date, it has the event, it also has the animals involved. So when you want to make a new event, you just push the plus button. You enter your title, enter your notes about what that event is. You can pick whichever animal it is. It'll light it up with a check mark when you click on it, or you can leave them unchecked if you're not using that animal. You can pick your date, and when you're done, you just hit done and it'll enter it for you. And then it'll look just like the rest of these, and it'll keep it all year for you, which is really nice. So the second here, you just hit that back button. You go over to finances. So this first section in finances, if you look here, is everything income. Everything she's gotten for income when selling eggs, weed pulling, any jobs she's done, any animals she sold, gift cards, anything at all that she has gotten for income. When you hit the plus button, you get that same little thing. This time you can add an amount of money that she earned or that your child earned, your title, so whatever it was that they earned. If it had to do with any of the animals, that can be added there, as well as the date. You just hit done, and again, it will add it to you or to your list. Now, if you look down at the bottom, you can see the little piggy bank. You can see the expenses. That's where we're going next. This is every expense she's had all year. So every time I buy feed, every time we buy a new showpiece, anything at all, that all goes in here as an expense. And again, it looks just like the income. You mark which animals it's for, and the date, the amount, and what it was, and it keeps track of all of that for you as long as you remember to enter it. The last one here is your assets. You click your assets, and this is anything that you bought during the year, any of your things that you plan to use in future animals. All of that stuff that's reusable goes in the assets. So you can keep track of all of that as well. And that also helps you figure in that depreciation as needed. Again, just the plus button, and you can add it just like all the rest. We're going to hit that Brinley at the top. It takes us in the back, takes us over to her animals and everything else. We've already looked at events and finances. So let's go ahead and pick an animal. I'm going to go ahead and pick Miss Piggy down here. And that's going to help us here. So you can see there, we've got a picture of her name. It shows us her weight in pounds per day because it does calculate that for us as long as we continue to enter her weight, which is amazing. To add a weight, you just hit that plus button, add the weight and the day, hit done, and it will add it to your list. And that will just continue to show you. So the more you weigh, if you have a scale or a way to weigh your animal multiple times, you can weigh weekly and it'll tell you approximately how much you're weighing a day. Again, down at the bottom, we've got three little icons. Weight. Next, we'll look at feed. In your feed, you are looking here. Every time we change their feed or add something to it, we go ahead and enter it in here. So the 611 was one type of pig feed. The 685 was a different type. 685, we upped it at 4 pounds. We added beet pulp at 2 pounds, oats at 2 pounds, and 2 scoops of milk replacer all on that same day. Again, hit the plus button. You write in your description. I usually write what we're feeding and how much, as long as I remember to. And then we hit done, and you can keep track of all of the things that you fed the entire year to help your animal grow. And the last one we'll look at is the health events. So in here, I've got things such as tagging, vaccines, if they get sick, if they have surgery, all of that. And in this X section, you hit that plus button again. You can write the event. So if it's tagging, you can write your tagging in there. In the about, I would put the tag number. And that way it's always in your phone. You don't have to go search for it when you're at a jackpot. Again, the date. That way you remember which day it was done. And then you hit done. And it'll add it to your list. And then right there, you've got the date and everything else. You can click on the tagging and any notes will be in there. See, I wrote Dectomax here because we did that as soon as we got the pig, just as a safety, make sure everything's healthy and happy. And then we have plenty of time to get that out of their system before the sell date. So that's all of that app, and I love this app. It helps me to keep both children completely separate in their animals. And then if you look at that top right-hand corner, you're going to see the word export. You click on that, it'll ask you, okay, what do we want to export? Which animals? So if I just want to export the pigs, I'm going to uncheck everything that is not a pig. So I go through, and Jasper's not a pig, but Elsa is. Here, here, here. And that'll leave me with just the pigs and all of their information. If you wanted to just break it down and just do your income and expenses, you could uncheck everything else and do that. If you wanted everything, which is what I normally do, I usually export everything at the same time. You can export it. You hit your start date and end date. I will usually do October of the year before to the end of September of this year. That way I make sure we have the entire year's list of records. But your state and your area may want different types of records. So depending on what you need at any time, it is there. If you're just looking for a printout of your health events for your animals you're taking to a show, just select your dates, uncheck everything except health events, and then you print it out and you have a record of when each animal was given a vaccine or anything else that may have happened had they been sick or anything like that. So I do love this app. If you are looking for a good app to have and use, this is a fantastic one for Apple users. Like I said, I really hope that they come back around and either come up with those Z Suite or record apps that they talk about there in that first page, or that they will continue to update this one, because it truly is a really good app and it's the best one I have found. And I've been searching for 2 years now for a really good app on either Android or iPhone. And this is the first one that I have just absolutely loved. So earlier we took a look at the goat book that my daughter has been working on this year and that she still needs to complete this year. She's already finished her lamb book, but I wanted to show you the printout. So in the app that I showed you, when you hit the export button, this is what it will print out for you. You can see over here, it starts at the top. It tells you her name and everything that's going to be printed out on it. It shows you for Sprite, and it shows you what dates we printed it off for. So the animal is Sprite. These are our weigh-in events. So these are all the events: the feed, the weight, the health events, everything in order along with the date, the notes that we took, so what we did, and the other notes that we took here. So that way you can enter everything that you need to enter. It's all in one place. Down here, we come down, it starts giving us dates. So this is the income and their dates, what it was marked as, how much, what it was for, and any notes that we put in. Here's our expense column. It has the same thing. And here is our events, so the things that she did, along with any notes that we put in about it. So each of these columns has everything that we need to go and put it in the book. That way we keep track throughout the year. It's all in one place, and she can easily transfer it from this sheet into her book by hand, make it look neat, work on her handwriting, work on her skills for addition and subtraction when it comes to the expenses and the income, and see exactly how much everything cost for this year. And I love having this handy little printout. Now, the one downside is you can see print fairly small. There may be a way to change that. I haven't figured it out quite yet, but this is what I enjoy about this app. I really hope you enjoyed learning about what I use 4-H and homeschooling hand in hand using the 4-H records book, as well as the app that I use, and I hope that app sticks around. And if you have any questions, please comment below. Have a great day.